Hey, peace, 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 everyone. Welcome to the first artist talk of the Bakanal de Afrique Festival. We are here, we are live, we are global. This is Kelly Greenlight coming to you from Lamu, Kenya, by way of New Jersey, by way of Alabama, by way of the Commonwealth of Dominica, by way of my mother, Sea Salt and Blessings, joined by my co-host, Trabolee.
Yes. I'm Trabolee, live from Nairobi, Kenya, the city under the sun. And we're here at the Bakanal de Afrique Festival. And this is the first artist talk. I go by, my pronouns are he. And Kelly, would you be kind enough to tell the audience what an artist talk is?
Absolutely. And I also say that my pronouns are she, her. So an artist talk is like an up close and personal experience with the artists that are part of the Bakanal de Afrique Festival. This is a global virtual experience going on throughout the month of November. We're excited to see you here tonight and also throughout the month for all of our various events. You can check it out at bakanaldeafrique.com, AfroUrbanSociety.com, pardon me, and all of the socials, which you'll have. Also, this artist talk is a chance for us to hear about the artist projects. They've been working since August, and we're excited to hear from all of our artists about their work. And the audience will be asking questions of you. You'll be asking questions to our artists and have some really great tools like the Padlet and our chat. Trabolee, can you speak a bit about our chat and the Padlet as well for the people?
Yes. Welcome again. As in Kenya, we say karibu. The audience can use the chat box to ask questions, make comments. There'll also be a Padlet where you can upload photos, pictures, drawings, anything that you find fascinating as this artist talk goes on. And also you can post on social media. That's Facebook, IG, Twitter, etc. Even whatever you find interesting. And it's the BDA Festival and BDA Fellowship, and let's get the ball rolling. The theme for today, it's called "Why Are You Running?" By the way, and we have such amazing artists who've been working on beautiful projects for about like 3 months or even more. And Kelly, back to you.
Absolutely. I have nothing more to say. We're going to hear from our artists. So artists, please introduce yourself to the world.
I call myself Manawevu, daughter of the soil, of the Vujijena lineage, those with the white monkey butt, the Sokomwenewazo Vambireweza, singer-songwriter, percussionist, Gwenyambira. I'm made of metaphysical crystals, cowrie shells, and the Royal Ndoro, a portal to take anyone to the other world. And no, not fairy tales. Let me blow your mind. My name is Piwai.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Judith.
Hi,
Dyeme.
everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Judith. I go by her and hers, yes. I'm from Plateau State, Nigeria. I'm a sculptor, installation artist, and a photographer. I am made up of stories and hot Nigerian spices. Thank you.
A cowboy, Timi, Adetona, Omokanye. My pronoun is in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a documentary photojournalist, and I am always light. I'm made up of lights and colors, everything beautiful. Thank you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome, bienvenido. Keena, Azania, Romano, she, her. Yo soy afrodescendiente, italiana, cubana, indígena. Speaking from occupied Ohlone, Uchin territories, AKA Oakland, Bay Area in the house. I'm a cultural healing artist and educator, culture keeper, made from ancestor prayers, cacao kisses, and colors of culture. We're here to represent y'all.
Bonsoir, Bakanal. On dit quoi? My name is Maureen, also known as Nzinga Bandida. Coming to you from Paris by way of Abidjan. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a visual artist. I do collage, I do movies, I do a lot of things. I'm made of acheke, of course, aloko, fried plantain, and lots of opinions and lots of feelings.
My name is Okhiogbe Omonblanks by way of Edo State, Benin City, Lagos, Nigeria, Accra, Ghana. I'm actually speaking from Berlin. I'm made up of those before me, those after me, and those currently creating with me. I'm an interdisciplinary artist, multidisciplinary artist, creative director, researcher, archivist, and documentarian. Yeah.
Oimore, Ibinade, Irionade, Oganga Mangiti here from Nairobi, Kenya. My pronouns are he, him. I'm made of black, love, pain, and a little bit of madness. I'm a poet and happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. Osainge Disiakwa. My name is Nzilani Simu, and I'm a visual artist from Nairobi, Kenya. I focus on illustration, graphic design. My pronouns are she and her. I'm made of love, faith, the creative drumming and weaving patterns of my ancestors, and some quirkiness. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Wow, what a beautiful melting pot of creativity and just like a lot of things bubbling. I'm so interested myself just to dive in and to know about all these artists myself. So like, let us begin. So we'll start with the Piwai. Piwai, how did your journey as a creative begin, and where are you going on this journey, if you'll be kind enough to let us know?
I started off very young, from the tender age of 8, when I got into trouble with my parents for joining the church choir. So that's when I realized I really liked music. That's basically how it started. And since then, I've sang in every choir possible that I've tried to join, played in every kind of band, toured with a few bands. And yeah, now currently pursuing a solo career as a singer-songwriter, as a mbira player.
Okay, that's interesting.
I have a question, Tra. Sorry, Piwai, can you tell us about your transition from singing in the choir to mbira? Like how did we get there?
Good question. So mbira came to me through a very, very dark time in my life. I just had a very horrible car accident where I was the one driving, and the people that were in my car could have died. And I was moving across the country, and I've been given this music from this group called Mbira Zanarida, who played the mbira. And having grown up with the music around it, I'd never really been into it. But then that time I kind of got into some nirvana of sorts as I was driving, where I drove for 300 miles. And to this day, I don't know who drove the car, but I know I could see myself from above. And I had this vision about the mbira and what I needed to do, who I needed to see, and who was going to give me the first mbira and my first mbira lesson, and the first mbira that I have, which is actually my background. That's the first mbira that I ever got from the visions that I had. So that's how I got into mbira.
Wow, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And we're so happy that you're here with us today, sharing this beautiful music. And it's so interesting how your story connects to this theme of transportation. So throughout this Bakanal de Afrique experience, our meditations have been on the theme of transportation. And so all of the projects, so many different modes and mediums that you'll see throughout the month are used, but the theme is transportation. So many folks are exploring. Let's continue with our intros. So artists, please, who's next to share about your journey?
Okay, hi. So for me, it started as a kid when I would draw or scribble on any small blank piece of paper. I could see it could be a book or anything. So I think I have some here. I don't know. It's just there, so you can see it's an old book, but yeah, things like that. So yeah. So I would do that, and then it started from there, and then I think I used to watch my sister. She would draw cartoons, so I wanted to copy that, and then so from there went to high school. My senior year, I think I was undecisive what I wanted to study in the university. So my art teacher then, he was like, if I ever decide to study fine art, I should go for sculpture because it's not many females do sculpture. So I held on to that, and then when I went to uni with that in mind, went specialized in sculpture, and then here I am today. Yeah, so that's how I started.
Cool. Wow, that's beautiful. Could we, the next artist, Adetona? That's a beautiful story. Adetona.
My creative journey began back then when I was in school. I have a friend that we stay in the same hotel together. He's a filmmaker, and then because we share the same bunk, anytime he goes out to tell story about our immediate environment, he usually call me to follow him. And then I said, okay, I'm not really interested in filmmaking, but then let me follow you. And that was it for me. The first day we went out to a place called Makoko. You know, I had the opportunity to watch him take pictures and make movies. And I was kind of drawn to the kind of artistic images that come out of this glorious event. And I just started asking myself, how would it be if I can be a photographer? It's gonna be an interesting journey for me. And before then, my dad is actually a photographer. So then I realized that it's already in the blood, but I never knew that I have this in my spirit until something, draw my attention to it. And ever since then, I've been able to, to follow him all around, use his camera to take pictures for personal use, like just for fun. Before I know it, NGO started calling me to come and tell story about their event and all of this. And this is how this journey began, And ever since that time to now, it's been all glorious. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Adetona. It's so beautiful to see how things just kept evolving and evolving, and I think that happens a lot with the creative path. It's like you end up, wait for it, you end up transported from phase to phase. Yeah, from phase to phase by just the momentum within itself, Yeah. Thank you so much. And we're excited to hear more about your work and your journey. Let's keep on going to the next artist intro. Keena, tell us.
Yeah, so my journey began as a child, as a little one, really using art therapy as a tool to deal with my family separation, and really helping to understand and explore my multiracial, multi-ethnic identity and what it means to live in two worlds. I did take painting classes throughout high school and college, but of course my art practice was viewed as kind of a hobby and it's like something you kind of just do on the side. But after graduating, I dedicated my time and energy to be a full-time teaching artist and muralist here in the Bay Area, and continuing to participate in many community events and solidarity. And, my aim and goal is to use art to bring awareness, to educate, to uplift our people, our culture, and our voices. So thank you.
Wow. That's
I think
beautiful.
it's my turn now.
Yes, Nzinga.
How did my creative journey start? I think I've always been an artist. I always thought I was an artist, but I didn't think I could be one because I couldn't draw or paint. I guess it stems from the fact that I'm from a country where art is very elitistic. So I thought art was fine art. All art was fine art. And if you couldn't draw or paint, you weren't an artist. Or it was something you were born with. It wasn't something you were learned. So once I started calling myself an artist, that's why I was able to just open, so many doors open in my brain. It was amazing. It's a whole story. But I guess the turning point was when I was 25 and I was in this very horrible job and I was going through a lot of sexism and I needed some creative way to put it all out. So I started with head wraps. So I call myself a head wrap artist. So I can, just like you can see, this is one of my favorite. And then it just opened lots of doors for me. And then I did an installation with head wraps and I did a movie. So it just started with head wraps.
Yeah, for me, it all started from just being curious. I don't go by any title per se. Today I'm a researcher. Tomorrow I could be a creative director. I best will call myself an ambassador of entanglement because for me I would preferably take the shape I need to take to tell a story. So it's really just based on my curiosity, desire to find new ways of doing things, how to bring different ideas, different forms together. So yeah, this journey has been interesting, from music to life experiences, to creating installations, and now just taking any form I need to take to tell a story. Yeah.
Yeah, so important to be fluid and flexible. Be like water, be like water. Let's keep going with artist intros, please.
Hi everyone. I can say for my journey, it initially started off as a mode of expression, just basically to express what I felt and also like to write pieces for other people. But more of right now, it's morphed into more of like a search for different ways to express myself and also to express what needs to be felt. So it's more of like a continuous journey where I'm constantly engaging in different topics and different goals, trying to express what needs to be felt. So I can say my journey as an artist has evolved from self-expression to more of like finding a way to express everything I have felt and needs to be felt. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool. I think for me, I kind of like, I started as an artist, sort of like Keena, not really, kind of like a hobby, it was something that I did all the time, crafting and all that from when I was young, but never really took it in school, never took it seriously. I even went to school, I did another degree, I did sociology and focused on social inequality. And I then left school and immediately went to do art school, like went to a graphic design school and then followed that path properly and did another degree. I was lucky enough to do one and then worked with agencies, and now kind of my work moves with feminist organizations, civil society organizations, and working to like express movements and social movements and social change advocacy. And I also do a bit of illustration as an entrepreneur. So, I mean, I think the sociology degree was not lost. It still came back to add to the design. So every path still comes back, you know, everything is connected.
Amazing. Thanks, Nzilani. Thanks so much.
Yeah, okay, so that was the illustration advocate, Nzilani. That's beautiful how your path intertwined and everything belonged where exactly it needed to be. So before I keep going, I'd like to remind the audience at home that we have the Padlet where you can put your comments, and the tag wall on Facebook where you can say, you can caption anything interesting that's going on in this festival. Also, we have our hosts who are taking questions and they'll present them to us. Back to you, Kelly.
Sure. I actually want to check in with our host. So Ifayomi and Afatasi, where you at? What's happening in the chats?
Hey, 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 how are you? So I actually do have a question on Facebook from a guest, and it's a question for the artist. If you could shift your journey to travel anywhere in time to do one thing, what would it be? So that's from our Facebook.
Questions. Come through with the question. So we'll check in with Afatasi and give the artist a moment to think about that. So just to recap, maybe you can type it in our chat, Ifayomi. If you can transport yourself to something, please put it in our chat. Afatasi, is there anything going on? What's happening in your chats? Because we're everywhere, y'all. Bakanal de Afrique is on YouTube, Facebook, IG, Snap. We're out here.
Yes. So question for Judith about what it's like to be like a female in sculpture.
Wow. Okay. Maybe Judith, do you want to share? And then we'll get into this question of shifting the journey to travel. All right. While Judith is chewing on that, maybe we can get going with this question. So artists, does anyone have an answer right now on shifting your journey to travel? And thank you so much, audience members, for these questions. These are amazing. And keep them going. Also, if something resonates with you, please take a photo, put it in our tag wall in the Padlet, retweet, I don't know, at Bakanal de Afrique, those quotable quotes and notable notes. We definitely want to hear from you. So thank you to our hosts. We're going to continue to hear back from our chats. And then Judith or anyone else with this question of if you could shift your journey to travel anywhere in time to do one thing, what would it be?
First of all, those time traveling questions are so bizarre when you're Black, you know?
Okay.
It's like, there's a whole 500 years that are just not possible.
The no-go zone.
Yeah, no-go zone, no-go time zone. I'd say for me, I would start earlier. I would time travel to my earlier years. Maybe, do we have magical powers if we can time travel, we can do a lot, yeah? Well, exactly. I would just find a way to find someone, or I would hope someone would be brought to me by the universe to let me know that in order to be an artist, you just don't need all those artistic stuff, and you just are, and whatever you do, you can be an artist. Yeah, I would have started earlier, thanks to someone, I guess, because as a kid, there's some stuff you lack. So yeah, I think my earlier years.
I agree with Nzinga. When you're Black, the whole idea of time travel can be very dicey, depending on how you say it. And, because, I'll speak for myself, English being a second language, when you try to explain yourself in terms of that, it doesn't always get understood. But for me, I'll speak from the perspective of a Mbira player, because, I believe that, our ancestors have always done time travel, or, we're astral beings. We have that belief, we have like the Dogon people who, first discovered Sirius. So for me, when I do Mbira, it's like mental travel. And if I was to take myself to a different time, I would use my Mbira, and I call it teleportation. I would use my Mbira to go back in time and meet my ancestors. I'm all about returning to your heritage. So I would turn the time, I'll teleport myself to, say, time for, slavery, and change things and bring healing, because that's what Mbira is all about. And for me, Mbira is all about healing. So I would teleport to a place where we can turn things and find healing, in who we are. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd agree with also what Maureen said. I think in terms of going back to tell myself that that I could do things, just to tell those times when there's that imposter syndrome that stops you from doing things, and just to tell myself that I could do those things and do them sooner, or just do them. Even if you fail, just fail, do them, learn from that. And if I was to do like real time travel into the back, I'd probably go to, my ancestors were like pioneers of weaving. So I'd go to find out where is that, like, what were those inspirations to do those things? But again, they're lost, colonial histories, such things we don't know.
Yeah. Does anyone else have a
Um,
burning?
I wanted to share
Yeah.
something that Piwai was saying. I'm sorry, it was so. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of piggyback a little bit on what Piwai was saying. If I could travel back into time, I would travel back to when the Door of No Return was created. For those of you who may not know where that is, it's off of the coast of Dakar, Senegal, Gorée Island. And what I would do is I would bring my magical paint and I would paint it and it would create a beautiful portal so that every spirit and soul and body that walked through there, fast forward, got looped to planet Bakanal and didn't have to go through the horrible transatlantic slave trade and, you know, could be really spared a lot of the horrors that happened. So that's what I wanted to respond to that question.
It's an interesting question. Time traveling. For me, I believe that the past and the future is the present. And the concept that comes with time traveling is that once you time travel and you begin to change things, the present changes also. So what do you really want to change? I accept my current situation, and if I'm given the privilege to time travel, I think I'll loan it to whoever feels they need to go back to the past, or the future. But I think I'm standing on the past and the future. The reason why we can even have these conversations is because of past experiences by Black people. And also, just to speak to what has been said already, the concept of being Black and having this 500 years of the illegal transatlantic slave trade, that's not the only history of being Black within that 500 years. So the Black people, even while this illegal slave trades were happening, the Black people still living amazing lives. So there's so many range to what it means to be Black. And Black people existed way before that 500 years. So just saying, I would constantly embrace the present.
Wow.
So
wow.
for me,
Okay.
I feel, you know, in all honesty, you know, past is past, and I don't think there's any reason for me to pay visits to that past. So I'll focus more on the future, and I would probably, you know, use Ofewingu, and which is, you know, a means of transportation, you know, that we created back then when we were in, you know, when the fellowship just began, you know. And then I would transport myself to any country of my choice without visa, without, you know, going through border, no restriction. So future is what it is for me. You know, idea being you have access to future, maybe someone would have realized that there's corona in the corner, you know, and then it might not be in this mess we have now, you know. So future it is for me anyway. Thank you.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I like the whole idea. I feel is like everyone would meet themselves in some type of way. And how we meet ourselves is how other people meet us. So if it's changing your past, or it's choosing to decide that time is not non-linear even now in the present, as Omonblanks say, it's all beautiful and we're all creators here. And regarding that, like, I would love to know, like, what drew you to participate in Bakanal, or what drew you to time travel to planet Bakanal as we are here now? Piwai.
For me, being able to work with other artists from other disciplines and being able to be challenged and to challenge myself, and being a part of, I'll call it the turn it up culture, you know, it is great and it's cool. And I felt, you know, just I was thinking as I was processing about this, there's also a sense of healing in it, because you go there to not wanting to seek external validation, but you validate yourself by knowing that there are other people that you're working, you know, that you're sort of like at that particular moment, since we've been together since August, where, you know, we have this commonalities in the approach of our art, whether you're a singer, producer, music producer, or painter, or you're a filmmaker, whatever you are. We have certain things that are common to us, and it's sort of like it's become our healing well, and that's what drew me to it, where you can find solace in knowing that, you know, there are other folks out there like you, and it's not just a lonely journey that you've been pursuing for however many years you've been doing it. So that's the beauty of the fellowship, the Bakanal de Afrique, and also, you know, thanks to Afro Urban Society for bringing us on the fold.
Wow. No sense of community. Judith, I would love to know.
Okay, so yes, for me, like what Piwai just said, for me, I love a good challenge every day. So the idea of transportation with the theme may soon come. For me, it posed like it was going to be I had to push my imagination. So yeah, and then also for the fact that I was going to meet other amazing creatives that we could possibly collaborate with. I was going to meet other people that I know I ordinarily wouldn't meet on a normal day. So yeah, so it was the connection, the networking, and then the idea to be the joy of creation, just to kick back and start creating or
Was
to
your
make art.
imagination
Yeah.
pushed?
So,
Was your imagination, did it live to the
right from the
expectations?
first class, yes, from the first class, from the first day, it was mind blowing. It just opened my mind to a lot of things. Yeah.
Thanks, Judith. Wow. Adetona, tell us, what drew you to Bakanal de Afrique and
Oh, yeah. So earlier this year, you know, I've had a plan to travel from Lagos to Kano by train, you know, and I did that last year. It's more like 518 miles from, just from the south to the north. And then, while I was on this journey, planning on how to embark on this trip, a friend of mine just sent Bakanal Fellowship application to me, and the team was transportation. Immediately, my spirit resonates with that thing, and I said, this is a place to be. This fellowship is something that I actually need at this point in time. And within that process, unfortunately, the lockdown came in, and there's no way to travel. And then I was just in. Then I said, okay, let me transport myself through this fellowship. And when the fellowship is over, I go back to my journey. And then it's been all wonderful. I wouldn't lie. It's a great gathering for me. I've been able to share minds with great people. Talk to people that that have great mind, and sharing your idea. Going back and forth to understand what transportation means is what gives me joy. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Adetona. And we have a question for you from the audience. Actually, Afatasi is going to come in, but I just wanted to say, I love how you're mentioning that this is the place to be. And I think during this 2020 COVID moment, our understanding of place has really shifted, right? So we are in so many different places, and yet Bakanal has become this invented planet, right? Has become the place, where we are all able to meet and converge and create together. So dope. So thank you for naming that. And then Afatasi, please, we have a question for you, Adetona, from the audience.
Hi, Adetona.
Love that audience. Thank you.
So inquiring minds want to know if there was ever a time when you were out like shooting photos where you felt like you were in danger at any point. Like situations that have been dangerous for you. And let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so a lot of people know what happened in Nigeria. I don't know, the End SARS protest where there's a police brutality. And as a photojournalist, I picked up that responsibility to tell the story of what happened in all of these events. But there was a massacre that happened in Lekki Tollgate, and I was there, where soldiers was shooting live at people. It was more like war for me. I didn't expect that. Seeing people dying right beside you, it's something that is scary for me. And this is the first time I thought I was shooting war, honestly. because I didn't expect that to happen anyway, because I feel like we are in a world whereby we are in a democracy world where people can just point gun at people and start shooting. But this happened, and this is like the very first time I will experience such in my life. It is crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah, it has happened before once, and it's kind of recent. What I'm telling you is like 3 weeks ago, and yeah.
Whoa, was it SARS related or what?
Yeah, it is. No, it's NSAT. It's like a police, another department of police that's hit against criminality and indecent acts in Nigeria. But these people have drifted away from their core to started, dehumanizing people, treating people the way they are not supposed to be treated. And then, Nigeria just celebrated, I think, 60, independence. And then I think people are kind of awakening, and then they were like, enough of this injustice. So, that's what happened, and that's it. People started protesting. So, thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Adetona. And sorry you had to experience that. That's a lot. Yeah. Okay. Well, just sending out our love and our blessing and our protection for all of our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, yourself included, that are experiencing, well, really all of us everywhere, first of all. And we know that Nigeria is having a moment right now. So on top of all the other moments that we're all going through. So we just want to send that love out to y'all. And thank you.
Thank you.
Gosh. Yeah. Thanks, Adetona. And thank you, Afatasi. Audience, we want to hear from you. So please be sharing your thoughts and feelings and Snapchats and screenshots on our tag wall, aka the Padlet, as well as the comments, questions, quotable quotes, notable notes. Tag us and ask. Please, we want to hear from you. Let's move on to our next artist. Keena, please. Just what attracted you to Bakanal de Afrique?
Yeah, so of course, as an artist, I'm trying to get my work out there, and looking for programs to showcase my work, and looking for other beautiful, talented artists like yourselves to collaborate with and learn from. And, I wanted to say thank you, Adetona, for sharing that experience, because it's also about a call to being an artist, and a revolutionary on the front lines in that way, really deciding to show up and participate in discourse and dialogue that's going to help change the world, right? So it is a safer place for us, so that resources are distributed more fairly and equitable. And anyhow, so it sometimes seems like a small thing, but it's like a really, really, really big thing. And so I'm really thankful that everyone's getting a chance to speak about their perspectives and experience. But specifically going back to the Afro Urban Society's call for artists, I also had a friend who was participating last semester, last program, and had a chance to go out and support one of the events and learn about it, and decided that of course I wanted to apply. There's a few programs that really align with the themes of my artwork, of course, which has to do with being of African descent and showcasing cultural artworks. So it fit, and luckily I'm here.
Yeah, thank God you're here, Keena. As for me, what I liked about Bakanal was the theme, transportation, because it's quite unusual for a fellowship theme. So I was attracted to this theme because as a woman who grew up in Parisian outskirts, transportation is a big part of our lives, not in a good way, because the politics of transportation and the map of transportation, it just speaks of all the inequalities. So it's something I've been wanting to work on for a while. And I thought I was going to make a podcast, or maybe, I wasn't sure. But then when I saw Bakanal School, I was like, yeah, that's perfect. So let me apply. And I was also very curious about the fellowship, like it's the first time I'm part of a fellowship. So this is great. I wasn't sure how we were all gonna pull off, 5 months plus every Saturday on Zoom, 4 hours. But look, he worked and we're here. So yeah, I'm really glad. I'm really glad I'm part of it. I'm really glad for all of you. Thank you.
Hi, Nzinga. It's Afatasi here. I have a
Hey,
question
girl.
They want to know, how many head wraps do you own, girl? Tell us. Give us a number. Estimate.
Girl, I stopped counting. You know how white people ask you, how many braids do you have? It's the same for me with the head wraps. I don't count. I just buy. There's some that I really like. There's some I only use for installations. There's some I use just for art. There's some I use on me. I have one that is close to my heart. It's part of my mom tribe. It's called Baole. It's like Ivor and Kente. It's in the movie. So you'll see it. So yeah, I don't count. Why would I count?
For me, it's actually Bakanal de Afrique just interested me in ways that connected to ideas I was currently thinking of. When I saw the call out, it actually inspired me to do work. And while doing that work, I was like, wow, I really need to apply for this fellowship because transportation is very much connected to movement. And for me, movement is something that I personalize. It's a part of my curiosity and my work. Just even connecting to what Adetona said about his experience, my work actually looks at transportation in a way of suffering and smiling that what Fela spoke about, where the title of actually my video art is called Act or Not They Die, right? Which actually presents the average Nigerian's perspective. No matter what you do between the class system in Nigeria, transportation shows you the class system, right? What the average everyday person is going through. And that's the same experience that Adetona just spoke about. But the beautiful thing about that is within all those sadness and pain and everything, there is laughter, there's beauty, there is fun, there's all of this thing within that experience, right? And I feel like transportation speaks to that directly. Yeah, but it's been interesting. It's been an interesting experience actually going through the fellowship and just hearing what everyone is working on. Because during this time, creative interactions are very, very, very important. And yeah, it's really been amazing for me.
I mean, like what Okhiogbe was talking about, the whole theme of experiencing transportation was one of the reasons that drew me to Bakanal de Afrique, because more often than not, transportation is just taken as a means of moving from one place to another. But the fellowship allowed us to explore that further by going through the experience of what you really feel and what different personas and different people go through, especially through transportation. So that was one of the reasons that drew me to the fellowship, having the opportunity to be able to explore transportation more deeply and also understand what transportation means, not just to me as an individual, but also what it means to other people as well. Because part of my final project involved me doing a couple of interviews with different individuals to understand what transportation means to them. So for me, the whole concept of being involved with it for a period, let's say about 6 months, and being able to explore transportation more deeply was one of the reasons that drew me to the fellowship, and also being able to create with other creatives. I mean, it's been a blessing to see what other individuals are working on, and also that cross relationship between different guys has also been a blessing and also a point of challenge because it also pushes you to go deeper and go further. So when you look at all this, I mean, Bakanal is such a blessing because it's allowed us to go deeper and also bring a lot of creatives together. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think the opportunity to create with lots of different people and like meet and also have like awesome mentors that was like that was an amazing part of it all. So I was drawn into the to the idea of being part of this global sort of art fellowship, and also like Maureen, my first fellowship, so I've never been a part of one, so it was really awesome to be part of this. And I think also just thinking about it in terms of transport in Kenya, I just thought, as I thought of the idea of transport and connecting it to Kenya, and how everyone has a transport story in Kenya. Like it's something, you're in it for a long time, because sometimes there's a lot of traffic, and there's a lot of things, it transcends class. It has so many stories in it. So I just thought of the idea of being able to bring those stories to something, and then the freedom of being able to create whatever you wanted to create in a fellowship. That's actually one of the coolest things. We've had so much freedom, like we just told to do whatever we wanted to do. So I think it was great to be a part of this and collaborate with so many different people and meet cool people as well.
Thanks, Nzilani. And thank you everyone just for telling us, what drew you to this Bakanal de Afrique Afro Urban Society experience, this theme of transportation, so unique in so many different ways that it can be interpreted. And we're actually going to hear from you now about your projects. We had this open call to create something using any medium you want about transportation, and you can define that however you want. And so each of you, has done that, all these beautiful projects that we can see. And so we want to hear from you. Tell us about your project. What is the final result? And how did you get there? So let's start with Piwai. Thanks, everyone. And please keep the chat going. Audience, we're going to hear from you in just a bit. So we want to hear, again, quotable quotes, notable notes, anything that's standing out to you, any questions that you have for our artists, please be in the chats. We will be checking in with you in just a few. Okay, so let's go with PY. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. I wanted to explore African astral travel via Bandida using a theme of teleportation. And I titled it Africa in Motion as an EP and a live performance. I did this because our ancestors did astral travel. I'll bring in back again the Dogon tribe, all the way to the Ndebele tribe, and myself as a Shona person from Zimbabwe. My ancestors relied on the Bandida to traverse to other realms. And I wanted to make people be in touch with their heritage by traveling. So my exploration involved exploring emotions as people traveled, whether you're traveling in the physical sense, or as we were talking about the Afrofuturistic city, that's time travel. It's travel that sometimes is not necessarily physical. It could be perception, and I wanted to explore the perceptions of people as they traveled. So I have in the song where I talk about just basic, one of the songs called Zaria, where I talk about just basic people traveling in their regular, like matatu or makombi or the trotros and dampos. And then I have I approached the other travel aspect from two African-American girls who are wanting to travel to, Africa for the first time, what that experience is, what that emotional journey is. And then the other part was just sort of like when we travel, we have this anticipation, we have these emotions that are going on, and we have this excitement of, say if you're traveling to see your family, you can't wait to be with your family. So you have these things going on in your head. Or some people, like this forced migration, their emotions are always left out. So that's what I wanted to explore. And in my song Todzongaira on the Bandida, it talks about movement of the people, just random times or random movement, or sometimes it's just chaotic movement. And I feel like that song helped me to capture what's going on right now, because there's also this confusion, not in the physical sense, but in the way we, our emotions are carried through that form of travel. We long for a time before, or we long for a better time ahead. So that's what I wanted to explore.
Wow. Thanks, PY. So just hearing you speak about the movement of emotions, like the transport of our emotional lives and how that moves us through. That's super powerful. Thank you. Judith, let's hear.
Yes. So for me, this was an exciting project for me. Initially, I had a couple of ideas, but this stood out for me because after our first session, after our first Zoom session, it was, as I said earlier on, it was mind blowing. So instead of limiting myself to the physical terms of transport. So I figured I could go in the, let me put it this way, in the mental direction. So for me, my work is about having to transport oneself mentally, because I figured when we communicate, when we talk, when we relate, we are mentally transported first of all before you even physically move. You go there in your mind, you're there already. So for me, I took that and then I tried to tie it down to a physical form. So my key piece was a typewriter, which I used to form as the engine of the vehicle, meaning your words can take you places. So that I set up as a piece of like as the engine of the vehicle that I created, and then I created the body of the vehicle using old car parts and then old typewriters too. So it just gave us that sense of transporting. And so, but then for the interior of the chairs, I didn't do like normal car seats that you would see in the vehicle. I tried to depict reading, or chairs that you sit and read. So just give you that sense of having to sit and read and then go places. Yes. So that's how I was able to.
Okay, Adetona.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, my project is majorly took place. It's a story between the travel of goods and services between Nigeria to the Republic. It's more of a trans-boundary movement, and my project focused more on the vehicle that is used, in taking these goods across the border, and then on the people that are involved. I mean, the driver as well. But what's so interesting about this project is the vehicle itself. This car being recreated, to suit this kind of transportation, and it is called firewall, which simply means smuggle. And this car, this is not how it is being made initially, but this driver go ahead to remove some part of these, to empty the car and create like a space, a new space to accommodate goods that they can take from one place, like take goods from one location to another. And then I realized that this transformation is actually very, very interesting to me. And I people see these people that embark on this kind of work as weird people, and they don't really know who they are. So I focus more on trying to humanize these people, tell their story, letting people know that they have their own life, they are friendly, they have a family, and then so it's more of the artistic design of the car and the driver that is involved in taking this good from Nigeria to Benin. Yeah, so that's basically what this project is all about.
Thank you, Adetona. Continuing that theme of transportation and the artwork, I was just thinking of like, what was I going to really work on and focus on, as a painter. And, I decided that instead of thinking about the commute here in the Bay Area and how much it drives me crazy, I would just directly speak of, my story narrative as being of mixed race, and of African descent, and talk about the journey and transportation of culture and of our people, and, through bloodlines and DNA. And my piece ended up being from idea form, from a sculpture to a painting. I had it back in my mind to do a project with my late grandmother, who's no longer with us, but she made these really beautiful sculptures that I want to give you a little quick preview. And this is a picture of what these sculptures look like. And they're just really beautiful. They kind of remind me of like two sisters, and it kind of transformed into like the stencil work that I was going to do that kind of looked more like this, and kind of thinking about colorism and again, the different shades of Blackness that we come from. And it kind of evolved to a 5-foot canvas, which is the painting that you can see behind me, talking about the journey from my great grandmothers to my more recent, lineage, and kind of also how racism in society has viewed us and has treated us in different decades of time, right? Because even that has changed and sifted, and how our people has reclaimed that identity and love for our Blackness, but it has also rejected it, you know, and it all depends sometimes on how we look and what country we're in, what state or what city we're from, because even living in like a progressive state like the Bay Area is very different than what Mississippi and Kentucky and Missouri and some of the southern states were that they grew up in their time. So it was definitely quite a journey, and thankful to persevere and, you know, continue to learn from, again, the cohort and all the great ideas and all the different multimedia forms that things were in, and just so thankful to showcase and to learn and to grow with you all.
Well, looks beautiful, Keena. That's the painting behind you. I mean, the work. Wow, gorgeous. Anyway, I mean, I can't put my stuff behind me because it's a short movie. If I could, I would. I don't have the screen yet. It's a short movie, just like I said, that speaks of the politics of transportation and inequality in the Paris region. Basically, it's two women, two sisters that are dialoguing through letters, which is a bit old school, but actually letters are really poetic, and I wanted that in the movie. Basically, one left the hood and one is still in the hood, and it talks about moving the social ladder, living in all white neighborhoods, etc., etc. Actually, I think it's just my way of saying that I believe in revolution, that all of us want a place under the sun, you know, but I mean, it's not a revolution if one of us is in a nice place, in their case, a nice white neighborhood, has her place under the sun, while the rest of the family is still in the hood. Like, this is just a metaphor, you know? Like, we all go up or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was that. So I don't know what can I help. Yeah, it's just, I also wanted to rep my people, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to rep the Black Frenchies, because we often made invisible by this country who likes to sell this idea of very white Paris, and people come and tourists come. Actually, this is in my movie also that tourists come and they see Black people, because the train that goes from the airport to the city center go through those neighborhoods. So they are full of Black and brown faces, and they're like, wait, this is not the Paris I was sold. So they get racist, to be honest. They get disappointed and obviously racist, because who would like to trade you know? But anyway, yeah, that's about my project. I hope anyone who sees it will like it. And yeah.
Yeah, for me, going into my project, I had this song in my head, Suffering and Smiling by Fela Kuti. And the chorus just made me think, I know this reality. 49 sitting, 99 standing, suffering and smiling. And for me, I wanted to do something with that. So my work is a video art that actually looks at transportation, but while looking at transportation and the different aspect of transportation, I'm paying it's an ode to the Danfo, the popular Lagos bus. But what does that mean? What does that represent? I'm just looking at the different section in society, looking at the different class system, looking at through transportation, how do you identify class within society? And also what transportation does daily for the oppressor and those being oppressed. And there is a junction that is constantly, that we constantly find ourselves. And with this work, it's a journey. It doesn't stop, it doesn't end there. It's I'm curious, right? So I'm asking questions. So with my video art, it's kind of poking, poking at what is governance, what is the masses, who should we really be 49 sitting and 99 standing? So it's just asking this question of which goes back to capitalism, it goes back to corruption, but it just also goes back to taking responsibility as a people. And I feel like my responsibility is to bring light to the things that I observe. And this work for me is one of those moments where I did that.
I mean, like what Okhiogbe was talking about, asking yourself questions was one of the basis as to that drove my initial project. Being a native of Nairobi, I mean, Nairobi was started off as a trading center. You had the railway passing through. I mean, if you look through history, Nairobi is supposed to be the capital city of Kenya. It's supposed to be Machakos, but if you go through that whole story, you understand that Nairobi came up as a form of transportation. Like transportation was a riding factor that determined the growth of Nairobi. So for me, my project, I wanted to look at different forms of transportation. So I ended up categorizing it into 8 different forms of transportation, which are integral to our city. I mean, you look at matatus. Matatus basically define who we are as a country, because they're more like moving frescoes, or rather moving canvases that tell our story, from our artists to our culture. So for me, asking myself those integral questions guided my movement. And then so once I came up with 8 different forms of transportation I was exploring, that moved further to giving these forms of transportation character. So by basically giving them personas. So I eventually came down to about 8 different personas that tell the story of 8 different forms of transportation. So from walking to matatus to the newly inaugurated SGR, which has been a blessing to our country, to tuk-tuks, which especially the usage of tuk-tuks in between Mombasa and Nairobi, which is a bit different, but also understanding that whole process and what this form of transportation means to different regions in the country also was a guiding force. So for me, it involved asking myself the most important questions. What story do I want to tell through transportation? Where do I want to get to? Where does my search end? Where does it begin? And at the end of the day, what I came up with was my contribution in terms of transportation at this point in time, which I know is constantly evolving, but it's also trying to tell a story and also trying to put out the emotion of what people feel on a daily basis, and the impact, not just physically, where you're moving from one place to another, but also getting to a point where you express the whole emotion, and also express what transportation means to you in terms of mental growth, physical growth. Because a lot of people use transportation to build businesses, to move from one place to another. And so when you look at all these questions and look at and the impact it has on different individuals, then you also try and get to a point where you try and understand and also learn that transportation isn't just movement on its own. It's more of a process that has an integral point and factor, not just in one aspect of our life, but also in all aspects of our lives. So at the end of the day, my final project is an exploration, also search of all these different forms of transportation and what it could mean, not just now, but also in the future.
Wow.
Thank you.
I really like what you're saying, Oganga, especially being from Nairobi. I can really understand. I get what you're saying. So my project is I went through a few ideas. I kept changing it, but I eventually went back to my first project, which was my first idea, which is to look at people who are adjacent to the transport industry. So when you're in transport, there's always people you encounter that are part of transport, but they're not. It's like they're on the side, kind of, but they're integral to the whole process. You know, whether you're buying food from someone or something like that. So I wanted to integrate those people into the transport system, and my project's called Kando Kando, and Kando means side in Swahili. And so I spoke to 3 people. I found out more about them. So what I also wanted to get was stories from people. So hear more about them. When you meet people who, it's a transactional interaction most of the time. You're buying something from someone, or they're putting fuel into your car or something. So I wanted to speak to these people and get to know more about them. In fact, I talked to someone I'd seen, transacted with for many years, but had never really gotten to know her. So it was really cool to just find out stories from people. They shared some of their wisdom. and some really good wisdom, so really interesting. And so I illustrated them, then I animated the illustration kind of, and then I put a sound, the interview on the illustration so that you can actually hear what they're saying in their own voice. So yeah, that's one.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I love all your projects intertwine the personal and the political, because the personal is very political. And yeah, so now our hosts have gathered some questions for you. So I'll pass it to Afatasi.
Hey,
So the question is
the question is for Omonblanks, sorry. You mentioned caste systems within transportation. What differences do you see in transportation now that you're in Berlin currently?
Not caste system, the different
class systems.
Different class system. And I would not comment on what the class system in Berlin looks like now, because I feel like a lot of people do that. You go and you visit the place for a day or a week or a month, and you have a full opinion on what the place is. But I've used the train here. I've seen the buses. I've used the buses also, and I flew in. I don't know what the class system is here. And what I can say is when I go into the train, everybody seems to be all right, whether it's the person asking for money, or the person just minding their own business. It's not far from what you see in Nigeria or in Ghana, but the class system but I also know that within this environment in Berlin, I can see how comfortable the system here has also become due to the years of privilege that they have done to the continent. So that also gives them a kind of comfort here. But I feel like situations are presented within society in different ways. Just like when we speak different languages, might mean so many other things depending on who is saying it and who they're saying it to, right? So the multiplicities in how we move as people, it's important to know the nuance, right? So the nuance in Nigeria is that if you are using a danfo, if you're using a bus, if you're a multimillionaire, it's your choice. You've chosen to use the danfo. But if you are the average person, it's not a choice. That is what is presented. You go through the stress of what the danfo presents. And it could mean being attacked by the police. It could mean rushing for an interview and the danfo stopping on the way and you losing that interview. So it means so many things. But like Fada said, suffering and smiling, the masses are always the one who would definitely suffer 49 sitting and 99 standing. But at the end of it all, the question is, that is the same condition that actually makes the people within the class of the 1% comfortable, right? So for me, my question is, how do we compress that? I can speak for Berlin. I will speak for, if I have more information, I'll answer that, but I can't really speak for Berlin.
That's a really responsible way to respond to that. Thanks, Omonblanks. And I think our host, Ifayomi, has another question from the audience. Thank you, audience. We love you.
Thank you. So this question actually came via text for all of the artists. How do you think of migration under the transportation theme as it relates to movement as Black people?
Okay. Who came through on the text message with all that? Amazing. So let's get a couple folks to answer this one. Ifayomi, can you just restate it one more time?
So the question is, how do you think of migration under the theme of transportation as it relates to the movement of Black people?
I'll go ahead and jump on that. I feel like migration is either forced or voluntary. And if it's voluntary, you know, like you have the option of taking whatever form of transportation you want. But if it's forced, I always revert to, I've been, you know, entrenched. And as I was exploring my project, I harnessed the emotions that were sort of like, that I felt like we're in, you know, we're in us, in the mind of the emotions of Otabenga, who happened to have forced migration from Africa to the United States and back from the United States to Africa. And I just wanted to explore what those emotions were. So if for him, he was made to travel on foot, he was made to travel on boats, on ships, and then on whatever form of transportation they had back in the day here in America. So that's what I always want to explore.
For me, I think this question is very interesting because as an immigrant in France, this migration and transportation system are linked because all the migrants, first, second, third, fourth generation, often are kept in those outskirts, in those neighborhoods. So it's like you purposely put on the margin, and like as a immigrant also, for me, transportation, I think as Black people, transportation, immigration and transportation is just a story of frustration of not having the right passport, not having the right visa. And even if you have the right visa, well, they look at you like this because, you know, you're Black, so you can't really, your visa can be fake. So I think migration, just like Piwai said, is just either forced or forced, whether by war or by necessity. So it's like, it's not a happy story for us because of course we travelers and stuff, but I guess we sometimes we just force, and it's a whole story of frustration and frustration. And well, even after 1 or 2 generations, you still maintain as this margin at the margin on purpose. So yeah, that's my answer.
I think Black people should be allowed to move freely. You know, Black people,
yes.
humans should be allowed to move freely. The concept of forced borders have deprived a lot of people, not just Black people. And I feel the concept of movement should be embraced by everybody. One should be able to wake up and say, I want to move. Movement is not supposed to be restricted. So that's what I think.
That's a perfect transition, Omonblanks, because we're about to get into building a future city with our audience, with you artists right now. This is an activity that we did during the fellowship, and we're gonna do it together live right now. So when you speak about, you know, we should be able to move freely, that would be an example of something that we would want to include in our future Black city, our Black city of the future. So right now we wanna hear from our artists. If you were constructing, or rather we are constructing our future Black city now, our Black city of the future now. So let's hear, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What are we listening to? What are the rules and structures? Are there rules? Are there structures? So please, artists, jump in. Then we want to hear from our audience. Audience, we want to hear you in the chats and the snaps in terms of your contribution to this future Black city. And thank you so much, artists, so far for all of your responses.
If I could start. I think if we were talking about like structure, I'd say like something that's environmental, like made from the earth. Like we used to be holistic Africans, we used to live one with the earth. So maybe it would be like houses made from like tree, like forest, in the forest, made from soil, mud houses, everything that's holistic, like connected to the earth, like not from, made naturally and authentically. I think that would be awesome if we could do that.
Dope, dope. What else, y'all? Our Black city of the future.
Just want to say that when we did this game before, I was like, you see, Black people can still be bad, but Black people could be anything. So for me, I would say the city should be a city of love and inclusion.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know I'm just an MC, but I would love to see a city where someone like Adetona doesn't have to go through what he told us. Like a city where artists can flourish without meeting all those obstacles. Please go on. Thank you.
Yeah, Trabolee. A city with lots of just equality, um, just love and no violence, as much as we can. You know what I'm saying? Also lots of celebration, spirituality, honoring our ancestor and lineage, our history. Yeah, see, just like Nzilani also, I'm just passionate about those ancient African cities, and I love seeing like old pictures of what is remaining. Holistic with me, with that make one with the with earth, you know, with the environments, but also very connected technologically.
Yeah. We can be inside. It's inside it looks like that outside, and then inside it's technologically, highly
Yeah.
Yeah,
technological.
so for me, I would love to see a city where there's no border, no restriction. You know, I have been privileged to travel across the West Africa, and then I realized that there are so much similarity than differences. So, you know, for me, moving from Nigeria, Lagos to the Republic of Benin, Togo, and to Ghana, I still feel at home, very much at home. So I feel the idea of border, it's actually a restriction, which is not supposed to be so. It should be a world where people can move freely without visa, without passports. Because my brother is in Cameroon, my sister is in Kenya. You know, I have my brother Okhiogbe in Ghana. You know, this should be like we should build a world that include everybody, not no
Okay,
separation. So that's it.
Adetona,
Yeah,
listen
I'm
to
with
me,
you.
yeah.
I'm
going
with
to
you.
have
I'm with you.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. Free
Yeah, go
visa,
ahead.
no visa only for Africans and their descendants. I am sorry, we're going to have to control, you know, for the first 100, 200, 300 years. And then we'll see if we lift up this limit. Because, hey,
But
the one
I
who
want to say
ignores stories is condemned to repeat it. That's Franz Fanon who said that. He said, so yeah.
I want to say something. I want to say something, Nzinga. What was the world like from inception when the world started? Was there border? Who created all of these things? Why all of this restriction? You know, I know back then in 600 years ago, you know, we're living in a world of ourselves. Africa is one, man. Like, you know, no restriction. You know, it's all because of this policy, and you know, it's all about business anyway. Don't let us go into that, but I totally understand what you mean by the way, so it's all good.
Well,
I
I
just
want to
want to say,
piggyback on what Adetona said about, you know, no restrictions. So for me, I imagine because I play Mbira, I feel like I'm a portal. So I imagine a future with portals where, like, you know, I could play my Mbira and then boom, I'm over in France with Nzinga, and that's the form of travel I envision. So where we have these portals, some of them are invisible, some of them are visible, where, you know, if it's an invisible portal, you have to like sing a rhyme or some kind of rhyme, and or like play some kind of instrument to get through it. So that's the future that I envision, where we have this beautiful portals where we're free to transport ourselves wherever we want to.
Yeah, portals and
I just want to
clubs.
say that the concept of race is a social construct, right? So even the idea of saying I am black started just some years ago. You understand? So at the core of it all, if we're talking about spirituality and all of this, within your spiritual form, there is no form. You understand? So love, love, love is key. You understand? If people move in love, the idea of control, the idea of power, the idea to oppress, the idea to block or to become other than would really not be there. So let's build a city with love, not with the memory of pain or the memory to do back or to create a city that is not inclusive. Let's build a world with love.
I agree
And
with that,
let's
Omonblanks.
very
It's definitely corruptible.
I have like some input from the audience. All of what everyone said is very, very important. And They want to know about what food y'all talking. What's going on with the food in Planet Bakanal? I see some input about street food. What kind of food are you guys talking about in this Black city? Please tell us.
I mean, definitely. Probably like food like biryani, a lot of food like biryani, good chicken, good meat.
Plantain.
Wake up to the smell of plantain, Nzinga.
Hey, so apparently there's is there a war with the pronunciation of plantain? What's going on with that? Tell us, because
I mean, no matter the pronunciation, it's the taste that matters. The taste and the versatility.
What other kinds of foods, guys? Tell us.
On Facebook, they're saying if there's no plantain in the city, they are not interested. So we have to have
it. Dang. What oh man.
They said they want some greens up in there. Some greens.
Of course.
We'll have food that you can only grow.
Some chicken.
Y'all get a sense of the controversy from the Bakanal de Afrique. You know, it wasn't, they were all love and butterflies, and there was also some creative tension and excitement. So y'all get a taste of that right now. We're actually almost at our time. Thank you to our audience for all these amazing questions and comments. We are going to start our wrap up. So we want to hear from folks in one word, artists, and then we want to hear from our audience. So please drop it in the chat. How would you sum up your Bakanal de Afrique experience, right? In one word. And I'm going to start, and I'm just going to say freeing. And Piwai, let's go to you.
For me, enlightening.
For me, exhilarating.
For me, it's transforming. You know?
I would say triumphant.
Wow. Yeah. Triumphant.
Yeah. I'd say challenging.
Movement.
I'd say love, a lot of love.
No. I'd say gratitude. Gratitude is a verb.
I'd say expansive. Expansive. Yeah.
Host, give us a word, and then let's hear from the audience.
Connectivity. In the chat, they're saying community, love.
Yeah. Ifayomi, anything? Community, love. What was this experience like? Experience, we're hearing in our chats. Experience.
Intriguing. One.
Inspiring.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. We just have a few minutes, and we want to let you know that there are events happening all throughout the month of November. Bakanal de Afrique. Go and follow, like, subscribe. Afro Urban Society, Bakanal de Afrique, Planet Bakanal. You can see the projects. Projects are being released every week. Multiple projects about this amazing theme of transportation. Thank you so much to our artists. We have our wall that we're going to check out and see what has been tagged throughout our call today. We want to say thank you to our artists. Thank you to our hosts. Thank you to our stage management. Who else we want to thank?
I want to thank everyone who's participated, the audience at home, and also the Zoom, whatever medium that it is, for allowing us to have this space in this times of the world where we can interact and share each other. Yeah, that's it.
Keena is saying thank you to our ancestors. So thank you to those who have gone before, personal and historical. Thank you to those who will come after us. We're paving the way for them now. We're so grateful. Thank you to our earth. We want to give thanks to all of our creative energies and our guides. So we're about to transition, but we want to share the screen so y'all can see what we have been posting and sharing and taking screenshots and being inspired by. We have this beautiful future city of love and inclusion. Visas on the question mark, but that's okay. That's what makes the city, because we're all working together trying to figure it out. So let's see what we have on our tag wall. Does anyone want to say anything on behalf of the artists to the people while we're waiting for that tag wall? Oh, here we go. Wow. Can we get a slow scroll? Nice. No human is illegal. Okay, Oganga in that suit. You better understand what it is. Beautiful. Thank everyone so much for being with us. You have entered Planet Bakanal. You're welcome to kick off your shoes, relax your feet, stay a while. Awesome. Quotable quotes, notable notes.
I just want to say, just for me as an artist and creator, and I bet my fellows would feel this way. I want to say thank you to the organizers of the fellowship. Transitioning into the space where we are now, it is important that people take up the responsibility to create what space can look like and feel like. And Bakanal de Afrique is a vision, of what that is. So just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, and speaking of space, the Bakanal website has the gallery where you can experience the music, the virtual gallery, and this is such an innovative venture for them. You can experience the music and all the art that has been created by the artists who participated in this fellowship. So make sure you check that out as well. In Kenya, we say kwaheri if we're coming towards the end, and that means bye-bye to the audience as we're closing towards an end. It's been such a beautiful ride and knowing so much about you. Kelly, any last words?
Asante sana, thank you very much. Peace, 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 peace. And
can you share something in your personal languages? In your own languages rather than English?
Yeah, it's night here.
To end this session, all of you artists.
I'll
start by saying, I'll say Nzilani means by the way. So like Nzilani is like, I don't know if she knows that. It means by the way, which kind of fits with the element of transportation. So I'll say Nzilani. It's a local language.
I'll add on that one. It means born on the way. So okay, I'm here at Bakanal and I'm grateful. It means born on the road or on the way, on the path.
Anyone else want to say goodnight in that language?
Yes, Maneru, I'll say Tashikayo. Tashikayo, which means we've arrived. So Bakanal, we've arrived.
Ashe, thank you.
La cultura cura. Give thanks, everyone. The culture cures us all.
Wow. La cultura cura. That's power. Thanks, Keena. All right, let's wave, y'all. Peace, 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 peace. And love too. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you.